So hi everyone, we will be creating a link to our forms, and so going back to my HTML file. So this is my forms. I'll go to the result form in my views folder, and maybe here I'll just add a link, and I'll just say create form, and you can name it anything. So yep, so X save, and once I refresh, you see create the create form here now. I could just make it maybe put a line a break here, so it's just going to give it some level of padding, or I can make it in, I can put it inside a paragraph. So P paragraph, do this and put it inside a paragraph, so you should have more space so you can see. By the time I click this form, it will just go to my create result form. And so my create result form in the URLs is create result. So result, create result. Remember that we actually use our name to the name in our path, our URLs path, to link pages together in the HTML Django HTML Ginger template. Or okay, so see this. Yeah, so I'll just I'll call URL this, then result create underscore result. That's the path name. So if I refresh, I now click this, you can see it takes me here. So I can also put like go back, and it takes me back, but already have the result here. Now you can now see that our front end, which is our pages, are beginning to be dynamic now, are beginning to be interactive. So I'm going to pause here and create for the courses. You have create form, then create the form. For the student, the same thing. So I'm done creating the forms for the course, student, as well as the result. So I will now create the actual Django form for my both course and result, so that will be and students, so we'll be able to create our forms, do form entry. So for the create course form, okay, so I've added it here, and oh, I've not created a view. Have I created a view for this? It's pretty interesting. I've not actually created a view for it. I thought I did. Oh. Okay. Okay, so view. So now I'm going to use this create course form in my views.py, my result application. Remember, that's where we are. That's where our course is. So I would say create course, and it will create course form. Then remember to take request dot post. Since it's a post request, we want to insert and do data entry, for instance. And so we'll now do the if request dot method is equal post, then if create course dot is underscore valid, so if the data entry is valid, so save create dot save, Then what happens when you are done saving? Return redirect, and want to redirect to result, pause, and save, just as we have here. So return and cost, that's what we do. That's what we have there. So we're now going to create, okay, so else, uh, else, then we'll say create cost form is just equal to create cost form. So else, if you are not doing a post, if I click on the create cost form page, it will just display um, empty empty fields to enter to do your data entry. Now I can now go back to my forms, and okay, so I think I created, okay, for URLs. So I did a URL. I created a path for the course form. So it's now for me to go back to my views folder, course, and I'll just enter this part. Okay, it's create result. Good. Once I save it, I go back to my HTML my HTML page, click on courses, click on create. Okay, so oh, this is interesting. Also, I didn't create a context for it as well. That reminds me. I create a context. Oh, I did not create a context for it, so I need to do that. So I'll say create underscore form or create course. So I can just name this the key value pair form. Now, when I go to my forms, the course form, what I can then do is to use my always so you create your forms tag. The method is post. It's always post for data entry. Then the CSRF token. Then I will say form, then dot as p, or you can just leave it as form, anyone. Then do a submit button. Let me say button, submit, and I'll just say save. Maybe that's what I want. So I noticed that here, so it's going to create results. So it's create course. So save it, refresh, go to course, create form, and you can see. So if I do a course name, I think I've entered agriculture. So let me see, math or mathematics. And I can just say math dash SS1, for instance, and save. You can see it has gone back here, and you can see my data entry. And for the student, we are just going to we are going to do the same thing. So we're going to go to the student application. Okay, we've not created the forms for that. We need to actually create the forms.py for that. Forms.py, and we are going to import forms from Django forms. Then we are going to import from .models, import student and student profile. The next thing we're going to do is to create a class for our form. So we can say create student form. Then it's going to inherit forms.model form as the attribute. Then we'll do a class meta. So what metadata do we want to use? The model, and our model is our student model. Then the fields, we also want to display everything. So, like I earlier mentioned, you can use underscore underscore all underscore. It means I want to create everything. If you have an exception, you can write, I think, except, no, is it field except, I've forgotten. You guys can find out if you have an exception that you don't want it to appear. I'm going to also do for the create student. Hmm. So I'll also do for update student form. Update student form. You guys can do this if you so want, just practice. And so I'll also do for the update. I'll go back to my views. Okay, so I've done the create student form. I've imported. So now I'm going to import from.forms, import create student form, and I'll just do the update, although I'm not done yet. So I'll just say create student equal create student form, of course, request dot post. So being that is a post method. The same thing if request dot method is equal to post. Now you can use double or single quotation, it doesn't really matter. You uh, just make sure that is a string. If create student is dot valid, so if the data you enter is valid, so you say create student dot save, then you can do a, so I've not imported redirect, so I'll just say redirect, and I'll do return redirect. And where do I want to go to? Application. That's my student app and student. So the reason why I know these at the back of my head, because the URLs is students. Let me do this. Okay, cool. So student application, then the name of the path. So else, if I just visit there, what do you do? Just display the form for me. If I'm visiting just uh, the create student form page, just display the form for me for the first time or anytime, any other time. So I'm going to save this. I think I've created everything. I'll go to my templates, go to my views, go to student. Okay, so it is the application and the path where the create form is, which is, I think, if I go back to my URLs, so it's the name create. So I'm just going to say create. Save it. Go back to my HTML page. Refresh. Always refresh. Go to student. Click on create form. Now it has taken us to our form. However, we've not done any display in our forms yet. Our student form. Okay, so in my views, I think I've not added the context yet. So I'll just say forms, which is my key, is create student form and save. Now, when I go back to my student form, I can now create create the form tag, post. All this is always a post method for entry. Then you do your you import your CSRF token, then the form itself, then the button. Again, you guys really need to know how to use HTML to some extent. So I submit, save it, go back, refresh, you can see. And so if I do any data entry, so I'll do SS1, let's say look cage, let's say look. I'll say look cage. Enter. It has taken me look cage. Enter. So I just wanted to correct this in the display. So I'll go back to my student. Yep. I don't like the way this is coming off. Refresh and it's there. My table, I'm just going to add a border of 1. Border, let's say 1, save, refresh. Yeah, so it's more, human readable and stuff. There are a lot of integrations you can actually do with Bootstrap, Tailwind. There are a lot of templates out here. So you don't necessarily need to know HTML and CSS to perfection. It's good you do, but you don't necessarily need to. You just need to know basic HTML, basic CSS, how it works. You can always get a UI, UI UX design specialist to come up with a very interesting UI for you. But there are a lot of resources out there that you guys can use. Pretty interesting stuff. So the next thing we're going to do is to update. So for the sake, for the create student form, I'll just update. Maybe I don't want Emily Johnson, and I want yeah. So in my views, right? This is my forms. So in my forms, I'm also going to copy and paste. And this I'm going to rename update student. And yeah, so I'll just remove this, but update student. My views, my student application views, I can just that reminds me. So I'm going to create a function. I would say update student form, and it's going to take into argument the request argument and a key. Let's just say key. Now, the reason for this key is this: every individual entry has a unique identifier. You don't want a situation where you want to update this guy, the first row, and you click and you end up seeing this information. So it has unique identifier, and Django does the that's a primary key. So Django does the it does you that particular favor by creating automatically a primary key. So if I go to my back end now and just show you the admin page. So if I go to students, it doesn't look like there's a primary key here. If I go to profile, it doesn't look like there's a primary key here. Results, the same thing, and course is the same thing. I can introduce that primary key. The default primary key in Django is ID. So I can go to my admin for student. In front of the admission, I'll just put ID. I can copy this and paste it here. It's not really important, but I just wanted to show you guys. If I go to my student, okay, why is it not? Okay, so you can see the ID here. So it's really important that you'd know that. So because the primary key would enable that you don't go and update somebody's information mistakenly. So if you click on your whatever it is you are clicking on is specific to you. So, and that's why we need that particular key. Now we are going to, okay, so we have the update student form. So we'll see update student is what? Update student form is also going to carry request.post and it's going to carry this key. Now you can name it anything, doesn't really matter. You can name it anything, doesn't really matter. I think, oh, I am missing something here. I think instance is equal to request.post. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, this is interesting. Let me look at one of my codes and yeah, so yeah, so the update. Okay, request.post. Okay, instance is equal to, okay, this guy. So that reminds me. So it's not going to take this key, man. Mistake, my mistake. So it's supposed to take something else. So in order for me to do a query of, oh, this is the guy I'm going to. I want to go to this, let's say this particular I'm going to, have I done any data entry? So I want to go to this particular person and not any other person. In Django, you can actually specifically query this guy. That this is where I want to go to, so that at the end of the day, the information of maybe this is interesting. Okay, so the someone else's information shouldn't show there, right? So somebody else's information should not show there. I just want Jean Grey. I don't need any other thing other than Jean Grey. I don't want to click on Jean Grey and go to Emily Johnson. So in order for me to do that, you could say you just give a variable called query, and we'll still call our student, but we are going to use get. So we'll do student.object dot get, then id is equal to key. Now this the second variable will be this query variable. Then we can now do if request. So it's still a post if you are doing an update, so know that. Request.method, oh god, this is automatic, is equal to post if update student dot is underscore valid. You can create an instance as well just to check your entries. I think it's dot save, yeah, and you can do a return redirect to let's just say we want to go to the student page where it displays all of the students. Save, and else, what do you want? Else, if I visit that page, just update underscore student is equal to update student this and request. I think, let me check, I'm not sure. Let me just check. Okay, so I don't think I need an else. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have a context, and I'm going to create one. So we don't have our dictionary. I'll create one. I'll just make this. I can just say update, just so that update and update student. So we'll do update student, update underscore student, and save. I'll go to my URLs. In my URLs, I will now specify my path. So I will just say update. So it will be, I think it's update student form. Yeah, so update student form. Then I can say update student, update underscore student. Then I'm going to add a dynamic, so I want it to go somewhere, so you can either use int or string. So I like using string and my key. This key is the same key I used here, this particular key. Now if I go to so if I go back to my student in my views folder, what I can now do is to add a link here. Let's just say, let me add a link on the first name or the admission number. Either which one is fine. And so I've created my link, and I will now add my URL tag, my Ginger URL tag. I will now specify that I want, anytime you click here, go to the student information update form so that I can update. So it is results, no, sorry, student. So the student application, then the name of my part. So it's update. It will be update. Now the next is just to say student.id. Just save. Now what I'm calling is this particular iterator. So this iterator.id, and that's the iterator.id, and I think that's all. So if I go back to my front end and go to student, okay, you can see by the time I click on it, oh, I have not displayed the form yet. Apologies for that. So I'll just go to my form, my mistake. What did I name it? Update. I'll just go to here. I'll just say update, save, refresh. So students, we click here. Oh, so this is actually supposed to be filled. Let me see what's happening. So I forgot to add instance is equal to query here. And s save. I come back here and refresh. Let me go back to student. Click on this. I'm wondering why it is not filling. I think I will just restart my server. It's just weird. Is it supposed to get or a post? Sorry. Let me just restart. Okay, so it has restarted. I'll try and check to see what's gonna happen. Because it's supposed to have the student information there for me to populate. It's supposed to automatically populate it and I can change. But it is not for some weird reason. So I've actually seen what the problem is. So the else I ignored actually was the problem. And so if you actually want to visit this particular place, you can do update, but I wanted it to show like the information you want to update, and that the reason is because, again, you have to know the information you want to update. So for instance, if I go here, now that I've added the else, so if I go to student create, let in the URL, for instance, create, I think student, and maybe I enter, I'm just going to assume a primary, a unique primary key, let's say 3, but it doesn't exist. So we have student, oh sorry, so student form. Okay, we don't have 3. Let's do, oh sorry, it's update student. Update student, it's the one with the primary key thing. Let's see 4. Now it's automatically going to take me there. And what I wanted before, it wasn't populating, was the what I want to update, so that I don't, I don't have to go back. Oh, I was in Luke Cage, or I was in Adam, so I was having that issue, and I forgot that I was supposed to put the else and still call out this particular variable without the request of post. This is for posting, while this is anytime I just visit the maybe I have the URLs to this particular form. If I'm going to visit, just display the information. So now that I've taken care of that, let's see. So we now can you know update. So I'll say um, Michael, just call any name. And now you can see if I go to Jean Grey, I change it and stuff like that. And if I also want to, the admission number is not showing because I excluded it in the form. So if I go to the forms and I actually excluded it, but I can remove it and refresh. So you can see how I can actually change, let's say to um, there is a Williams. You can see even this actually changed. So if you don't want this the admission number to change, maybe you are auto generating it from somewhere and just come with random numbers, then maybe you might just exclude this from the update form. And yeah, so I just wanted to fix this. This will be update student form so that it can be different on that. So in the next video, I'm actually going to look at the delete feature. Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do enjoy it, like and subscribe and share with people. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.